Hi, so I went to the Blockbuster near my house and I rented both the movies, and then I came home and I realized after seeing the cover of the movie that we actually had um, both of them. So I rented them for no reason at all, but that was okay because they were both good. So the review for Wonderful Life, just a background, is the main character is named Melvin Udall, and he suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder. And in doing so, he lives alone and kind of pushes everyone out of his life. He eats every day at the same restaurant with the same waitress, and he brings his own like forks and knives, his own utensils, because he is afraid of the germs and them not washing them good enough. And that goes in with his obsessive compulsive disorder. And then later in the story you meet his neighbor, who I believe his name is Simon, and he is an artist, and he has the cutest little dog ever, named Verdell. And the beginning scene is actually where Melvin doesn't like Verdell, and he puts her in, I think it's the trash chute or the laundry chute, or him. I don't know if it's a girl dog or a guy dog. I think it's a guy dog. And that was just horrible because the dog was so cute. But anyways, his neighbor gets assaulted and ends up in the hospital. And Melvin is asked to take care of Verdell until he gets better. And so at first, Melvin really doesn't want to do this, and you can kind of see the dog is hesitant to go with Melvin, too. And then, after a while, Melvin becomes attached to Verdell, because how can you not be attached to that cute little dog? And they kind of have a good relationship, and then when Simon comes back and he's recovered and he wants Verdell back, the dog kind of doesn't want to leave, and Melvin doesn't really want him to leave. And I think Simon can see that in Verdell, and it makes him really sad. And Melvin kind of lost the only relationship that he had, so he kind of spirals back into his OCD tendencies. And one day he goes to the restaurant, and the waitress that's always there, Carol, isn't there anymore, and he's like asking around like why she isn't there. And it's because her son is sick, and so she stayed home that day, and she's trying to look for work closer to her house so she can be with her son. And Melvin can't take the fact that his daily routine is messed up because of his OCD. So what he does is he pays a doctor to go and evaluate her son and take care of him, and he pays for all the medical expenses so that Carol can come back to work and make him breakfast every day. And at first she doesn't want to accept the money, but her mother convinces her that her son really needs all of the medical care that Melvin can provide. So she finally goes back to work, and they kind of have a more in-depth relationship than they did before because of this. And everything kind of seems to go back to normal until his neighbor Simon decides that like he can't paint anymore because he's lost all of his creativity, and because he can't paint anymore, he's going into bankruptcy because he hasn't sold any paintings, and so he's really depressed. And the neighbor offers Melvin to take his car to go to Baltimore on a road trip, and Simon's agent, who asked Melvin to take care of Verdell before, he convinces Simon to go to Baltimore to ask his parents for money, but he hasn't really talked to his parents in a while because Simon is gay, and I don't think they knew before, or they didn't agree with his lifestyle. So he kind of has been isolated from them for a while, but his agent convinces him to go, and Melvin is going to drive his car with him, and Simon convinces Carol to go because her son is being taken care of because of Melvin's medical help. So Frank convinces, the agent Frank convinces Carol to go with them on the road trip, so it's less awkward. And so the road trip, at first it started out kind of awkward and like tense, but then things started to loosen up. And eventually, when they were out in Baltimore, Carol convinces Melvin to take her to a restaurant. And of course, because Melvin is so rude and antisocial, he screws that up. And she storms out of the restaurant. And she comes home and back to the hotel, and she's upset. And Simon sees her and is inspired to paint her and to draw her. So he gets his creativity back by Carol not feeling so great and being upset about what Melvin said to her. And then on the last part of the trip, they finally make it to the parents' house, and he asks them for money. And when they get back from New York, Carol says that she doesn't want to talk to Melvin again because she's disgusted by him and she's just so mad at him. And then later on, she decides that was like a bad thing to do, so she calls him and she apologizes. And their relationship is still kind of complicated until Simon steps in again, and Simon is living now with Melvin because he can't afford his apartment, so until he can get back on his feet, Melvin said that he could live with him. So Simon convinces Melvin that he should tell Carol that he loves her. And so at the end, they are walking, I think they're going to get food at a corner bakery, and your imagination can kind of take it from there. So they kind of get together, and things are still kind of weird, but because of his OCD tendencies, they're never going to really have that normal relationship.